Good evening. You're viewing the Fairfield Home and Garden Journal. I'm your host, Karin Howery. Good evening. I have a special treat for you tonight. I'm with my friends Kay and Terri, and they're going to show us tonight how to create a beautiful fall piece. This is my friend Kay, and this is my friend Terri.
Hi.
Thank you for having us. I'm so pleased to be here.
Good. Welcome to Oakland Nursery and Flower Shop.
Thank you.
Okay. So, to make this beautiful flower arrangement tonight, we're going to use something really natural, just a small pumpkin, and we grew these ourselves at the nursery this year, so it's kind of fun for us.
Oh, wonderful.
This neat little pumpkin. I don't know if they were bred to be small or they just didn't grow big enough. They were supposed to be giant jack-o'-lanterns, but that's how seeds go sometimes.
And so you would just hollow them out like you would when you carve a pumpkin.
Yep, just hollowed it out. And then always in arrangements we use Oasis that has been soaked, and it's always good to soak them for a long period of time, like
overnight.
Yeah, and a lot of the Oasis will, but we already have it soaked, so we have it ready. You can get the Oasis at any flower shop. And how much does it cost a block, Kay?
About $1.50.
For a whole block, and you can
use it for several arrangements. Only about 1/4 for this little pumpkin.
How long does it take to be really soaked through? Do you know?
This is standard Oasis, and you should soak it overnight.
Overnight.
We do have instant Oasis that can be soaked in a few minutes. So you put it in here. Sometimes I use my little leftover pieces to wedge it in there so it's not going to move around.
And we should explain that the Oasis, because it's all soaked up with water, that's what's giving the flowers their water. And we also put some Floral Life in our water that we'll be putting in the pumpkin to feed the flowers. If you ever get cut flowers, it's nice to get some Floral Life with them.
So usually we would fill this up with water, but we don't have our water right here. So
well, let's just pretend. Now, I also noticed that pumpkin sits really evenly on the table. Did you do something to the bottom, or was this just a perfect pumpkin?
They were just perfect little pumpkins for this. We just looked out.
Yeah. So if it's not really even, then you would cut a little bit off and make so it would stand nicely on the table. Also, I think one concern, if you have good furniture, to maybe put it on a plate when you display it, so your furniture won't be damaged.
Yeah.
So that would be a good idea, I think, to just make sure that the pumpkin doesn't touch good wood or good surface.
So the first thing we do is, this is called greening an arrangement in, and we take Leatherleaf or whatever greens we want to use.
Trying to think of some greens that you can get out of the garden this time of year that might be good. Katie, can you think of any? I mean, evergreen.
I just use everything. Weigela, spirea, if it still looks nice.
Yeah.
But this time of year, what's available?
More of the evergreens, I think. They're still
Boxwood. If you could find some boxwood, that would be something. And ivy. Any ivy that's, you could even have some ivy coming out.
That would be very attractive. Yeah.
So just because there are some things that you can get right out of your own garden that you can do something like this, make a real nice, attractive, and maybe you could even find your pumpkins on sale.
Yeah, especially now, I think the stores like to get rid of them. So this is a good place to go to your local grocery stores and see if you can find any good deals on pumpkins. And I saw some really nice ones still in the stores. So that's an excellent idea. Thank you.
And this is called Variegated Myrtle. It gives the arrangement a little bit more color and
Yeah, a little bit more
variation.
texture
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice. And it has, as you can see, it has a different color around the little leaves, a little bit lighter. Makes it almost looks like holly leaves, the variegated holly leaves. Very pretty. And you just go around and
just fill it in with some greens.
And I think this would also be a good project to do with your children on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of the people that might have painted on their pumpkins, they would still be able to use them.
And
Oh.
then we take some pompons, which are chrysanthemums.
And-
And they're
and-
especially nice this time of year.
Yeah, and I still have some blooming in the garden, and they're still good. So if you grow chrysanthemums, you'll have some for your centerpiece.
Yeah, mums last a really long time in an arrangement. So it's kind of nice to grow them in your garden. You can buy little starts of mums in the spring for $1.25, and you keep pinching them back till about July 4th. That's just a good date to remember. And at the end of the year, they're great big plants. So instead of always buying them in the fall already big, it is fun to grow them from little seedlings.
Yeah, and if you remember our first show, I showed you some chrysanthemums that were growing in this area, and they were beautiful.
Right. And if you go to your florist, you can buy these mums, and one stem usually will run how much, $1 or
$1.50.
and the stem, I'm gonna get right behind you. Hold these up. The stems always have a lot of flowers on it, so you from one pom-pom or mum, you can get a lot of flowers. So you can just, you take the whole stem off and use every bit of it. You can see that Kay has started here with some height on her arrangement. Proportionately, do you want it 2.5 times?
1 to 1.5 times the height of your container.
Right. So, so she started with her height.
Kind of make your boundaries. Some of these are not cooperating.
And then you just fill it in. You
And
go
just-
around. If you want, especially if you want to have a centerpiece, you want to have it all
the way
around.
around.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's taking shape already, and it's not that hard to do. And she's choosing a lighter
Try
color
to
of
use
a.
all different colors, just to make it look real fallish.
And I think instead of chrysanthemums, you could also use carnations if you want to have a color that will match your dishes. Or you will have a fall theme with a color that you want to bring out. And carnations, they're still pretty reasonable. Are they carnations?
These are miniature carnations that we use a lot of. Come in all different colors.
Mhm.
And they also give a lot of variation of the flower size, the minis do.
Yeah.
So we use those a lot.
Yeah. And as you can see, different textures. These are a little bit finer.
These are the big carnations.
Yeah. So you get a different texture in there, and I think that makes it nice. A centerpiece that has different textures in there makes it interesting. But you can do you can use any flowers you want, actually.
Just trying to think. And even, other things, I did an arrangement the other day with broccoli. No,
Right.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. They're great.
And that beautiful ornamental cabbage makes
Yes.
a beautiful centerpiece. Trying to think of things that people can use, or if they've dried
We use a lot of
anything.
hydrangeas.
Yeah.
If you've dried any hydrangeas
Yeah.
or
If-
straw flowers.
Right. And if you have hydrangeas, if you have a neighbor that has some bushes, or maybe you grow on your own, you just get them. They're wonderful. And they you just cut them and
You can even spray paint them.
Yes, that's what I
If you want
said.
it to be a different color or something, you can spray it.
Yeah. Do you need to use a special paint for that, or just a spray paint? Kay, do you,
We use a floral spray paint just because it's fast drying,
yeah.
but you can use anything.
And I think another idea maybe using fresh herbs. I think that would add also a little bit of a scent in there. So as you can see, she's filling it in and picked a different color. So this looks like it's going to be a typical fall centerpiece. Fall colors, orange and browns and yellows. Very nice.
So if you need one on your Thanksgiving table. Of course, we do a lot of different arrangements. We can do cornucopias, and wicker baskets are really popular. Do a lot of baskets. If people bring their containers in or their vases, we'll be glad to fill them with flowers.
It's shaping up nicely. So
See
it's
how she's getting some depth by not putting everything out on the ends? She's bringing things in and out, so it's giving the arrangement some nice depth. And the contrast of the different
yeah,
colors.
it's very nice.
Just open it out.
What do you think? How long would, if you water it and check your water every day, how long would it last? Would a centerpiece like this last?
It really depends on your temperature of your house more than anything, but I've had arrangements last for up to 2 weeks.
I think that's very nice.
Mhm.
And it also will give you a sense of pride. You can show off your own centerpiece and everybody.
And like you were talking about children, they love flowers. They think it's so special to have flowers. So kids really do enjoy having the fresh flowers around. Okay, did I take
And so
one?
do husbands.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a way, they do.
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
They enjoy
So
it.
what are we using
This
here?
is called Safflower.
It's beautiful.
It's kind of
Doesn't
interesting,
smell.
but it dries very well.
You know, it almost looks like a weed.
Mhm. Like a thistle or.
Yes. Very pretty.
You notice that Kay's making a fresh cut on every stem that she puts in, and she's cutting at an angle. And, you know, she just pulls the flower away and makes a fresh cut. And if you want to keep your arrangements longer, you can take the flowers out and give them a fresh cut and put them back in. And that's maybe not so much with Oasis, but if they're in a vase.
Yeah.
And they'll last a lot longer if you give them a fresh cut.
And so if you're working with small children, mom and dad, it might be a good idea if you cut the flowers, because these knives are very sharp.
Or use pruners.
Just sit pruners. That's another idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to use fresh flowers, you could use silk flowers, couldn't you, Kay?
Yes. You could use silks and drieds. A lot of times I just go out to the country or to ditches and get just dried flowers or pods off of flowers. And
Right now the pampas grasses
Uh-huh.
are real pretty.
Now, Kay, excuse me. Now, Kay, explain what you're doing with this amazing instrument. It looks almost medieval.
yeah, this is called a pick machine. And these are preserved fall oak leaves, but you could use natural ones right out of your yard. Of course, you won't have this contraption at your house, but you just, it shoots a pick out, and then you lay your material in and push it down, and it puts a nice steel pick on it. And we use these a lot.
But would it be all right to just have the leaves in there without the pick? It might be a little bit hard.
You could just tuck the leaves in there.
I don't think we have a thing like this in every home. So.
I don't have one at my house either.
So it's all right to just stick your leaves in. And as you can see, she's filling it with the leaves, and it
And then here's cattails. And they always look real fallish.
those aren't native cattails, so I don't suppose the ones around here, those big.
They're big and
Big.
yeah.
So these we bought in.
And you might want to also kind of watch your proportion of the flowers in the container. Isn't that important, Kay?
Yes, it is. You don't want to use a real small container with great big flowers.
Yeah. And while you're working, I want to say a special hello to a friend of mine. She lives at Logan Apartments and she's not feeling well, but she watches this show and she tells me always that she enjoys it very much. So, Mrs. Reese, hello, and I hope by the time you watch this show you feel better.
That's nice. Who can we say hi to?
Yeah.
Hi, grandmas.
You see, this is a local show, and I think we're allowed to, once in a while, to say something nice about our special people here in Fairfield.
So that's about it.
Okay.
We put the finishing touches on, and so
here?
a real simple fall centerpiece.
Yeah. So it didn't take you that long to do that. So an afternoon. It might take you a little bit longer with the children, but this is very nice, as you can see. Very simple and very nice. Kay, do you have other example that you can show us of fall decorations or fall arrangements, centerpieces? And there's some other ideas for centerpieces that are very much, they would go from, I would say, Halloween to Thanksgiving. Oops. And what have you done here, Kay?
This is real nice and simple for anybody to do. You can either use a cornucopia, we have this one, or you can use whatever you have. You could take a wicker basket and just fill it with fall leaves and whatever you can find, gourds, Indian corn, miniature pumpkins. You could stick some bittersweet in here. Have your kids go out and find buckeyes or hickory nuts. And it just is real easy and simple, real pretty and natural looking.
So you just would stick it in, kind of layer it, and add some color.
Sometimes if you're doing a basket like this, you can fill the bottom with, tissue or something so that gives you a little bit of height.
Yeah. So you do not have to fill it all up. You would put newspapers or tissue paper or whatever you have. Even foam, I think, would go well.
Leaves on top of that.
The bittersweet, you can go out in the country. It might be a fun thing to do, to go out to the country and try to find some on the fence posts. It used to be really prevalent, but now with all the spraying and the chemicals, it's not as prevalent as it used to be. But it is around.
I haven't. I've been looking for it, and I haven't found anything. And I think people kind of keep that as a secret.
It is. It's because
It's kind of like mushrooms in the spring.
Yes. Yes. Every family has their own patch.
flowering crabs have persistent fruit. I don't know how long that'll last in the inside, but I think it probably would for a week or so. That might be fun to use.
So you could use a lot of things, a lot of plants from nature.
Yeah. And again, I think that things might be on sale now. If you could go to the grocery store and buy these miniature pumpkins at a good price, and it could carry you clear through to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Even a mum plant would make a nice.
Put that in a
centerpiece.
basket.
Yeah.
And then you can always plant those outside after they're done blooming inside.
There must be a trick to it, because I always do that. I get it as gifts, or I buy them, and some survive and some do not.
That's because some are winter hardy here and some are not. There's just different varieties, and some, we never know for sure if they'll be winter hardy, but it's worth a try.
Oh,
It takes you 5
absolutely.
minutes to dig a hole and put it in the ground.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a dried arrangement out of all drieds and some silks, I guess. You can dry small roses. If you have baby's breath, you can dry that. This is eucalyptus, and then again, she's got the weed in it, and that you can even cover up and use next year. Everything is dried.
And what's nice is if you save your arrangement from year to year, you might just need to freshen it up just a little bit, and it makes all the difference in the world.
What's the trick of drying roses? Is that a special procedure that you have to go through?
Again, some varieties dry better than others. So I think that's really key, that you know what varieties do dry well. But
And these roses have been air dried. Just hang them upside down and air dry.
They kept the color really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but the yellow is just, it's like fresh. That's really nice.
And when you dry, you want to have it in a fairly dark place, and you just hang them upside down.
Cool, dark, and dry
Your
with
garage.
good air circulation.
Yeah, a garage, or not a basement or something that would have too much
Damp.
moisture. Maybe in an attic.
Or a closet.
Yeah.
Closet. Nothing would fit in my closet. So, and then,
Birdhouses right now are really popular. We do a lot of arrangements. We could do something around the bottom of this, or we have put these in arrangements. But they're real popular right now.
I think a lot of people collect birdhouses. It's fun.
We went to a seminar once, and the guy said, "Put a bird in it, and it'll sell." And I guess that's kind of how the birdhouses
Yeah,
are now.
yeah.
You just set up, and you can buy a little wren house for $5 or so. I mean, just a little redwood wren house. They're not expensive. So
Another would be another project for the family, building a birdhouse.
Yeah.
If your son or daughter are the right age, fun afternoon, and then use them in a Thanksgiving or special occasion arrangement. I think the little folks would really like that.
And you don't have to have a wicker basket or anything. You could use a porcelain dish that's a favorite, and you could put fruit in it. Thanksgiving is a time of the bounties, so you could just use a lot of different things and use what you've got. You could, eat the apples later or the oranges and just make it really colorful. And like Kay said, stick in some, go get some leaves or to kind of give it that fall feeling. Here's just a thing with some pods, and it, like I said, it's really fun to go out in ditches and pick some of this stuff up. This is not a true pampas grass, but it is a grass, and if you go out in the country, it's just along the roadsides anywhere. Yeah. Twigs, you could get some twigs. If you have a birch tree, some twigs work better than others, again because of their texture and the way they feel. And I think birch is good. Curly willow,
That's
corkscrew
wonderful.
willow
Yes.
that goes up.
We use that a lot.
Yeah, I know birch is good. Poplars are good. With big buds. We also use linden. So there's a lot of different twigs that you can use.
A word of caution if you go out in the countryside and look for grasses, and so if you're on the side of the road, do put your emergency blinkers on so people can see that you're there. So use caution, please.
Well, and not very far away, there's usually a pull-off that you can get into a farmer's driveway or something, and all the farmers will be mad at us. They'll have everybody in their ditches trying to find stuff.
Be again a nice late fall day. Take the family out and look for grasses and things to put into your centerpiece. Maybe for nuts, anything.
Yeah, nuts. Get some hickory nuts. There's neat pods.
Milkweed, I think, is wonderful.
Kids love that too.
Yeah, and the grasses. Here's some grasses. I mean, you can just use a lot of different things.
Great. And I'm looking around here, and I see a lot of wonderful ideas. I love what you have done with the window treatment. I think you used, again, it looks like latex flowers and silk flowers. You just kind of, what did you do, Kay?
Actually, we just have these little tiny nails, and we just swagged it across the top of the curtain and then down a little bit. And it was just a real simple, fast. We put some tissue paper in here.
I just found that out.
Very clever.
They're
Very
so
clever.
creative. Here's the paper whites, the bulbs that you can start inside. You know, that's really fun. It's just rocks in a dish, and the bulbs. Oh, they're sometimes around $1 a piece, and you can do paper whites.
Another project for the children. They can see them grow,
Yeah.
and they just smell wonderful.
Yeah, they grow about 1 inch a day, and it is a lot of fun for the kids. A lot of this little arrangement, this is all pre-made, and we just took a clay pot, put some styrofoam in it, and stuck it in, and then just with silks you can just move it all around and separate it. You know, this was bought just as one clump
Just
of flowers,
yeah.
so you don't have to even be too artistic to do something
Just
like
put it in a container of
Yeah.
your choice.
Yeah.
Great idea. Also, I really like the dried arrangement, or I should say swag. You put that over an antique mirror. Oh, boy, I would like to have that in my house. It's very nice.
Swag.
Both. So you just freshen it up and maybe bring the colors out in your home, that your favorite color that you have. You just put that above a mirror or a piece of art, a print or something. It's very nice.
How's that started, Kay? That's just with a piece of styrofoam?
No. The best thing to do to make a swag is to use these twigs and then just use them as your base. Separate them, put them end to end, and then if you're using eucalyptus, put your eucalyptus on next, and then just keep building out and away from the bow from that.
Would you use some styrofoam or something in the center to put your flowers in, or you just would intertwine them with the twigs?
I don't usually, unless somebody wants something with a lot more depth. But just use a hot glue gun and just keep gluing flowers in.
Hot glue guns, they're wonderful.
Yeah, we use a lot of hot glue sticks.
Yeah, I do too in my home, and I have burned my fingers very badly too.
Oh, yes.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to be with you today, and you took time out. I know your families are waiting for you. So thank you. I learned a lot, and I hope you learned a lot too and are ready now to make your centerpiece. Good night, Fairfield. Thank you for letting me come into your home, and my next show, I will invite you to my home. We will spend a little time in my kitchen, and I will cook something for you, and we'll give you some ideas how to decorate the real easy way your kitchen. So tune in next time, and I see you then.